Where'll you be going?
Texas?
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Go on, make it happen.
And now here's Steve and Michelle.
Welcome from the heart of Dripping Springs. We are Mallet and Michelle, hosted by me, Michelle Lewis, and Steve Mallet.
I'm not even paying attention to you right now. I'm trying to get all this new wiring set up in our new studio, number 3.
When do you ever pay attention to me? Do you just
What?
That's pretty much.
That's pretty much it. That's how that goes.
Hey, you know what? We are going to have an amazing guest today.
Yeah.
And I just adore this girl. She's so fun, so cool. Sydney Smith. She is Dripping Springs, Hays County's favorite bartender out there. She knows everybody's secrets.
Oh,
yeah.
And she's going to tell them all
and
here
she's gonna
very shortly.
She's going to spill all the beans, but we definitely want to also thank our sponsors, because without our sponsors, we would not be able to do this.
The show would not exist.
Absolutely.
Nomic Power Solutions, backup power generation.
Mallet Integrity Team, real estate professionals. Who's that? That's you and me
us.
and our team.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cedric, Maury.
Yeah.
Ryan. Yep. That's us. 45 years of experience. So I was just saying, this is our third studio. It looks a little different, but this is it. And we just had run into a couple technical difficulties, so hopefully everybody can hear us right now. But I think it looks okay. I'm watching the volume, and I think everything's fine.
I think everything sounds great now.
Yeah. You had a story you wanted to do that you wouldn't tell me that you were going to do.
I wouldn't tell you. So yesterday was my birthday, right? December 2nd.
You've only said that like 6 times since we started.
So now I'm going to say it 7 times. Yesterday was my birthday. You would think at this age I wouldn't give a crap about my birthday anymore, but I am 54. I'm proudly 54. This is the year I'm going to be a grandmother, so I'm very excited.
Yeah, that's very exciting.
But this could be my last birthday. And the reason why is because today is December 3rd. Now this is going to come out next week.
Okay.
But so if we're all still around next week, you'll know why, because you heard it here first. Well, you heard it live.
Is there like some Incan day they're predicting the world's going to end?
Actually, there's a UFO battle that is supposed to be happening in the skies at any moment now. You know, there have been multiple UFO sightings all over the world. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. There have been these
aliens in the water,
these spheres, drones that have been showing up at military bases. But this alien battle is supposed to happen in the sky today. I don't know what time zones, because, you know, it's already December 3rd in Australia. But this man by the name of Cliff High in the late 90s.
Cliff is high, I think is what that
Cliff
meant
was
to say.
high. But he designed this computer program project, and he called it the WebBot project. And it was originally designed to predict stock market trends.
Okay.
But then over time, it kind of expanded to kind of like global events, natural disasters, elections, etc. And in 2009, it predicted this computer program that a battle in the sky between UFOs and military fighter jets would happen, and even UFOs against UFOs, right? Okay, just stay with me here, okay? So apparently after
I'm afraid my eyes are going to get stuck up in the back of my head because I'm rolling them so hard.
Apparently after this battle ends, it will be normal for us to see aliens walking around in everyday life. So this is starting to make sense, right? And so here's where it gets really weird.
Are you about to tell me you're an alien?
Duh. I mean, I thought you were the alien all along.
I think you are.
You know what? They'd bring me back. I've always said if they kidnap me, they'd be like, nope.
Like they dump you off.
Nope, that's it. This battle was predicted to happen 39 days after a specific trigger event. And that was also predicted. And this trigger event, this is where it gets really, really weird. This trigger event was Joe Rogan interviewing Donald Trump.
Oh, my God.
But back in 2009, think about who Donald Trump was. He was The Apprentice. He was the host of The Apprentice and some
TV
obnoxious
star,
rich billionaire, right? And who was Joe Rogan? This obnoxious host of Fear Factor. Right? That's what he was known for.
Yeah.
The Fear Factor. So
And
he was the Fear Factor guys.
News radio? That
He
sitcom?
he didn't even have a podcast.
I know, but he had done a sitcom on TV. I think it was called News Radio.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. So 39 days after that, that is today, that's December 3rd. So again, I don't know what time zone. I don't know if, we're going to get an alert on our phone.
Should we be looking outside now that we have a window to see the fighter jets and the flying saucers?
Maybe. So surprisingly.
Fighter jets and flying saucers.
Surprisingly, this was on my bingo card, because over the last 4 or 5 years, we've lived through what? 54 apocalyptic events. So who knows? I'm not surprised.
This one's pretty apocalyptic.
It is pretty. Well, no, it doesn't say the world's going to end. It's just going to say they're going to fight up in the sky.
And then you'll see aliens at HEB.
Well, I think I already kind of do see aliens at HEB. Have you been to the Wimberley HEB lately?
No, actually, I have not. I don't think I've ever been in that one, but got another reason not to go.
So, yeah, you're welcome. So if December 4th happens.
Get outside with your binoculars and look up into the sky, folks.
Yeah, well, you're welcome.
Yeah.
You don't say that I didn't warn you.
Okay, my story doesn't sound nearly as exciting as that, but I was reading an article this week that in Arizona, they just voted at the recent election to pass this Prop 312, which passed with over 60% of people voting for it.
What's a 312?
The proposition is 312.
Yeah, no, what is it?
It's, every time there's a new proposition, they 312, 313, 313.
What is the proposition?
Okay, it's, geez. Well, I was getting to that, Michelle. Don't you cut me off. So Prop 312, it does two things. One, it lets people that own property in certain cities, Phoenix is where this really started, make the city governments enforce the laws that are on the books.
Oh, what a novel idea.
Yeah, exactly, right? If the laws on the books protect property values and the city, so for example, there's a place in Phoenix called the Zone, and it's where all the homeless people have been shuffled to, and the police there in Phoenix are told to stay out of that zone. And it's a pretty big area.
Who are they told by? I wonder.
I guess the mayor, the city council, I don't know.
Yeah.
But they've been just told that that's sort of like an area you just let it go. Well, if you own property in there, the property values in that area have plummeted.
I bet
People can't sell their properties. Nobody's buying them. So it does two things. It allows people, property owners, to make the city enforce the laws to keep their property values up. And if the cities don't do that, you can get a rebate on your property taxes for the decrease in value.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
I would love to see this spread out across the country, because every city that we've talked about this on the podcast, the homeless thing is a giant scam. The state of California has spent $24 billion on homelessness, and it's gotten worse every year. What a scam. So I think that these cities need to start feeling this in their pocketbook. If you own a property in Austin and your property values have gone down because there's a homeless camp in the woods next to your house, you should be able to get some of the money back. Or make the city enforce the laws, because remember, they passed the camping ban. That shouldn't be allowed anymore, but it's happening all over the city.
Well, I think it was also in correlation to the squatters that were going on. And so they weren't...
That continues to get worse.
They weren't enforcing a lot of that.
That's right.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So that's the first time I've heard of this, but I would like to see it expand across the country.
Yeah, the world seems to be getting angrier. And I'm hoping that we write, just figure out our shit and stop getting angry all the time. I told you the other day that accident at 290 in Nutty Brown.
I just heard about that you told me about it, and I heard about it on the radio this morning, that two guys got out of the car at Nettie Brown. They had an altercation.
Road
One
rage.
of the guys got pushed, fell into traffic, and got run over. Well, the guy that did the pushing got charged with manslaughter.
And was out on $25,000 bond for manslaughter.
One of the sheriff's deputies was on the radio this morning saying, it's not worth it. If you get in road rage, just get out of the way, let those people go by, and just don't even engage with them, which is easier said than done, but good advice.
That's crazy. Well, are you done on your Prop 312?
I'm done, yes, but let's do a Prop 312, which is a proposition in Austin.
That sounds like a big word. Okay, here's my other story. You ready for
Yes.
this? I didn't even tell you about this one because I just like to see.
I'm always scared when you do that.
Well, I do. I love to throw you loops because I'd love to see your reaction because you're so straight and narrow half the time.
The fighter jets and flying saucers was kind of threw me for a loop.
Okay, where's the first place you think a man looks at a naked woman's body?
Oh my God, Michelle. I think it's different for every man.
Really, you do?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I read.
I think some men it's the bottom and the front. I think some men it's the bottom and the back, and I think some men it's the top and the front.
Well, you are wrong.
How politically correct was that?
That was bottom and front. I like that. Studies have shown, there have been some studies on this, and when a naked woman stands in front of a man, the first thing the man, within like 200 milliseconds, the first place they look, it's not their boobs, it's not their face, it's not their butt, it's their hip-waist ratio. And it basically what they're doing is they're looking at the fertility viability of the female. Yeah, it is. I swear. Yes.
No.
Yes. You don't even know you're doing it.
I'm a man. I know.
Really? Are you?
I'm a man. I can tell you that's not true.
But the reason why the study showed is back in the primitive days when there wasn't really a lot of courting going on, that a man could see a woman from far away and he could see her from the front, the back, the side, and it was basically they were
She
looking
had
at
big hips, and he was like,
yeah, it's something about it's a 0.7 is the ideal ratio for the hip to what did I say? Hip to waist ratio, but it's the potential fertile woman that they can see from yards away.
And the only indication that a woman is fertile is the size of her hips?
I guess maybe just through years and years of evolution and that just taught. I don't know.
It's your story.
I mean,
I'm going to throw you a curveball.
What's that?
If a naked man stands in front of a woman, what's the first place she looks?
Away.
Touche. I'm out of here. That's funny. Christmas is coming.
I know. I haven't done any Christmas shopping.
We were just saying yesterday, this comes out in a week, it was 23 days till Christmas. When this comes out, it's like 2 weeks till Christmas.
I have done nothing, and I don't see in any. Well, we're doing couple gifts this year, like for the kids, except my granddaughter, which I'm buying her. If Toys R Us still existed, I would buy her the store. But yeah, so
yeah, it's I haven't done any shopping yet either. I've started making lists, but it's you get to a certain age, everybody has everything they want, right?
Yeah, there's a new Netflix series. I want to watch it. I can't remember the name of it. It's something like about like the overconsumption of just junk. Basically,
I saw that,
guilty.
and I'm afraid to watch it because, I think it's true. I think we get caught up. There's so many ads on Instagram and Facebook. We get caught up in that stuff like, ooh, those shoes are cool. Oh, those shirts are cool.
Yeah.
And you buy stuff and you don't really need
No.
it. So, 100 years ago, the average person had one pair of clothes for work and one pair of clothes for
and one
church,
spoon and one
school.
fork.
Yeah, well, they had a nice set of clothes to go to church, to go to school, to go to a funeral, but they didn't have, a wardrobe like we have.
Well, because they lived to 30, so they didn't need a lot of choices.
That's true. That's true.
They didn't have very much luck.
Boy, we went way off on a rabbit trail. So my story is about that returns are you buy something online and you want to return it, that retailers are really cracking down on that.
Yeah, we talked about the Amazon thing, how that has gotten.
Yeah. Well, this is some of the really big stores are actually starting to charge
a restocking fee?
Yeah, a restocking fee or a return fee. Saks announced that if you want to return anything online, it's a $10 fee to whatever it is. It's a $10 fee to return it.
BS, because what if you ordered it online and then you get it and you try it on it doesn't fit?
So part of you and I are not regular shop. Well, I guess we're regular, but there are people that do bracketing. You know what that is? So say you normally, I'm going to do my size, I 32 pants.
Yeah.
Well, and I go, I bought those before and they didn't quite fit right. So I order a 31, 32, a 32, 32, and a 33, 32 with the intention of I'm going to keep one pair and I'm going to send the other two back. Well, that happens a lot. And I can't remember the number, but it's like 14% of the online orders are bracketing, where people order multiple sizes with the intention of returning them.
That's interesting.
The average cost of a return for a retailer is anywhere from $21 to $46. Yeah, for a single return. So in the case of, you know, a $75 pair of jeans, 2 of them get returned, it's $90 for the retailer. I mean, they might as well just throw the pants in the trash.
Yeah.
You know, just tell the people I'll just keep them and throw them away. So what a lot of people are doing now is really reading the fine print on returns before they order, and some people are even boycotting these stores.
I would boycott them if I knew that when I'm ordering something off of Amazon, I'm looking at their return policy now.
Yeah. Well, so like Saks has a new policy. Will you not?
What
do
if
you
you
order anything from Saks?
No, I do order stuff from Nordstrom Rack because it's on my phone.
Oh,
I will do
I
that.
get stuff from Rack too. But anyway, it's kind of an interesting thing going on, and retailers are still trying to figure out how to make online shopping more profitable.
Is it
and
only if
still
you-
have a liberal return policy?
Is it only if you return it like through the mail, or if you can go return it
So
at the
you
store?
can return it to a store. I'm glad you said
Okay.
that. You can return it to a store, and there's no fee. What some stores are doing now, I thought this was brilliant. You can say you don't have any idea what size of something you wear. You can put together an order, and they will pull it out at the store. You make an appointment. They pull it out of the store. You go to the store. You try on all that stuff. You pick out the ones that fit you the most. They put everything away. You have no returns. And you have an appointment, so it's not like you got to go in there and wait for, look through the racks and wait for a fitting room. You have a time. You could go in 10 minutes and try all that stuff
That
on.
sounds like a nightmare for you if you had to go in there and
That's a
just
nightmare.
try something
well,
on.
I hate going to a store and looking through the racks, and I pick out 5 things and I try them on. I hate that.
That's why you find one shirt you like and you order it in every color.
Every color it comes in, yep. Well, and you know what? You make fun of me, but a lot of guys are just like me.
Oh, but what have we been doing lately? Which is like really bizarre.
Weird. And no planning whatsoever. You and I are dressed almost exactly alike. Like today you have on a green dress. I have green pants on. You have a beige jacket. I have a beige shirt on.
But
you have brown shoes. I have brown shoes. And one day last week we were like navy pants and a navy shirt or something.
We're
light
morphing
blue
in.
shirt.
We're morphing into
How
the
the
same.
hell is that happening?
Yeah,
That's freaking scary.
It's crazy.
I'm telling you, more flying saucers flying around making that stuff happen.
Aliens. Oh wait, do I hear something out in the sky?
Pew pew pew. Do you have another story? I got one more.
No, I don't have anything else. I thought I would just throw you for a loop and just ask you where's the first place you look at it.
That really did throw me for a loop. I was like, oh my God, am I going to get in trouble here?
That's my goal in life is to make sure you stay in trouble.
This is something, this one jumped out at me because we do it all the time. In the office, we do it. If I'm walking out the door and I go, Judy, I'm going on a listing appointment, she'll say, well, good luck. And you do it, right?
Yeah.
Good luck. And there's this story is out about behavioral science, professors have said that you shouldn't say good luck. It hints to the person that the time that they've put in and the skill that they have will have nothing to do with the outcome of whatever they're doing. There are better ways to say it.
Okay.
I have a solution.
Throw it at me.
You can say,
What I would do.
what I would do, now where am I? Oh, if somebody does
How about don't F up?
don't F up. It says you can say, if somebody does something, you say, well, I can tell you worked really hard if they messed it up. Now I can't figure out one of the things you can say, boy, I'm really flubbing this one.
You can say, do, 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 do. I want to give you time to read what you said.
You can say things like, boy, I can really tell, you really put in the time, you'll nail it. Or, I've seen you working so hard, you'll do really well on this. Things that will affirm how much effort they've put into.
Well, like in theater, they'll say, you don't say good luck because that is bad luck.
Break a leg.
Break a leg.
Which is weird.
Yeah, and then in aviation, Tate told me, gosh, I can't remember what it is now, but they don't say good luck either. They
See, that's
they say
probably
something
where
in
this
aviation.
started. There was the story that brought this about was a Formula One driver, George Russell, one of the journalists that was interviewing. As he walked off, he said, "Good luck." The journalist said, "Good luck" to him.
Safe flight, have a safe flight.
Oh, fly safe or have a safe flight. The journalist said good luck to him, and he kind of got a weird look on his face, and the journalist said, "Did I say something wrong?" And he said, "Well, when you say good luck, you just minimize all the hard work and time that I've put into my craft."
That sounds like somebody's bitchy and too sensitive to
And
be my
overthinking
friends.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, it really
Well,
does.
I mean, if you can do better, if you can say something that makes somebody feel better. I mean, if George Russell had turned around and the journalist had said, "Man, I can see you working really hard. You'll do great today." That
That journalist
is more
sounds
uplifting.
fun. That journalist, you sound fun.
You sound fun. You're so bad.
What about, okay, so here's best of luck, best wishes, knock 'em dead, wishing you all the best, fingers crossed. You got this. May fortune favor you. You'll do great.
May the force be with you.
May the force be with you. Have a blast. Yeah, you were made for this. Oh, bring home the trophy.
See, don't you feel like that says something
Steve,
better?
If you say, hey, Michelle, I'm going to go on a listing appointment, and I say, believe in yourself, Steve, you're going
I'm going to turn around and go,
You're
there's an
gonna hit
alien
me.
sitting at Michelle's desk.
yes, you're going to hit me with
That
something.
is an alien for sure.
Be a Viking.
Be a Viking. You are much more likely, if I'm walking out the door, I'm going on a listing appointment, to say, "Don't F it up."
Yeah, that's pretty much
That's
true.
you
You're
all the
welcome.
way.
I'm always the encouraging word that you
You
need.
are every time. So we're going to take a little break and get Sydney Smith in here. And I've never met her, but
Oh,
from
my
what
gosh.
you said, it was going to be real
I showed
exciting.
you a video that
You
she did,
did,
too.
yes.
So
We'll have to talk
what was
about
it called? Oklahoma Shakedown or something like that?
Oklahoma Breakdown?
I don't know what it is,
know.
but we'll see.
Well, I think she's going to tell us all about it. So sit tight. We'll take a little break and be right back with Sydney Smith.
Are you tired of being left in the dark when the power goes out? Say goodbye to blackouts with Nomic Power Solutions.
As your full-service Generac dealer, they offer individually designed backup power solutions.
From start to finish, they've got you covered.
Nomic Power Solutions, keeping you powered up.
Call or text 512-387-4232 or visit nomicpower.com. Follow on Instagram at Nomic Power for updates.
Nomic Power Solutions. Protect your home, protect your family, stay ready. Proudly sponsored by
At Capital Farm Credit, they understand that owning land is more than just a transaction. It's a legacy, a future, and a place to call your own.
For generations, Capital Farm Credit has been the trusted lending partner for land loans, farmers, ranchers, and rural dreamers just like you.
Their personalized loan solutions cater to your unique needs, making the journey to land ownership smoother than ever.
Capital Farm Credit, your land, your legacy. Visit capitalfarmcredit.com or Mark Rutledge at 512-892-4425.
Capital Farm Credit, an equal credit housing lender.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Mallet Integrity Team of real estate professionals. They are based in Dripping Springs and bring you over 45 years of combined experience helping people reach their hill country real estate dreams. When you want the best in town, call them at 512-829-2062 or look them up at malletintegrityteam.com. And now, here's Steve and Michelle.
And we're back with Sydney Smith. This is Hayes County and Dripping Springs' favorite bartender ever. Welcome, Sydney.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here, y'all.
Welcome to the show.
We're excited.
Yeah.
And your new studio, too. This is
Yes,
pretty cool.
the first time.
Yeah, it's one of my one of the things that happens to me is because I don't drink. Don't get to hang out with cool people like you at the bar.
I still like people that don't drink.
Oh yeah, well I can come and have a bubbly water.
You can have a bubbly water. We'll make you a mocktail. We'll get you a chicken fried
mocktail.
steak. You'll be good.
A
See?
mocktail.
A
What would
little-
you recommend to me as a mocktail?
Oh, I would probably get you like a virgin margarita. We have a really good mix at Hayes City
Oh,
store.
that sounds good.
Get a little tahini on there, you know? That's the good stuff.
What's the one that tastes a little like coconut?
You pina colada?
Pina colada.
Yeah.
Idiot.
I don't drink,
There's
Michelle.
a whole song about him, man. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. If you like pina colada, that's true.
And getting drunk in the rain.
And getting drunk in the rain.
Yeah,
So I
there
guess
you
none
go.
of that applies to him, so he's not listening.
Sydney, how'd you end up in the area in Dripping Springs?
So I moved here in 2012, I believe, and my parents, my dad's in construction, so we moved from Tampa, Florida, and we moved into Belterra. Yeah, pretty far.
Yeah.
I was born in South Carolina, but you move where the building is, and so we moved into Belterra, and I was homeschooled my whole life. Absolutely adored
Really?
it.
You were homeschooled?
You never know. I have a personality. It's crazy.
Yeah, right? But you do play with Legos.
Yes,
so
I do. There had to be some weird thing about me,
We all have
You
that.
can't get out unscathed.
That's right.
But yeah, so we moved into Belterra, and then I worked my first job at the Switch. I was 16, and it just took off from there, and I became the dripping favorite overnight. It was crazy.
Well,
That's awesome.
It definitely is a testament to your personality. So, okay, so when you moved here in 2012, how old were you?
I was 11.
11. Oh, so you're right around the same age as my daughter.
Yeah, I'm 23.
Oh my gosh.
That always
youngster.
surprises people.
Yeah, you are. You are
Got your
young.
whole life in front of you.
You have an old
And I
soul.
feel like I've already lived a life already. It's crazy.
You wait. There's a lot more to come.
Yeah, buckle up,
Yeah.
Buttercup.
Right.
So, growing up, you were born in South Carolina,
Yes,
but did you
ma'am.
grow up like the first part in Tampa? Is that where you?
So I moved from South Carolina when I was about 2 or 3, and so then the rest of it was growing up in Tampa, and it's great. That's where my sister is now. She loves it over there, and I don't know. I love the hill country out here.
What do you
It's wonderful.
consider home? When people ask you where you're from, where do you say what's your home?
I say here.
Home.
I love it. I fell in love with Dripping Springs, and like my family, my dad got a job in Tampa in like 2019, and so they were like, "Let's go." And I went for a month and was like, "Nope,
Yeah.
I'm about to be 18. Like I'm ready. I'm ready to be home.
So
like I
your
miss my
family's
town."
still back in Tampa, but you moved back to Dripping Springs.
And my parents are now back in South Carolina, and my sister stayed in Florida because she loved being there. And,
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you have any family around here?
Just the
Adopted.
family that I've made.
Just the friends. Oh, that's cool.
Which
I
is
like
so
that.
many people. Like
Yeah.
I had too many Thanksgiving invitations. It was wonderful. I was like, I can't. I'm already going 2 places. Like I
Can't do it.
I can't eat anymore,
I can't
guys.
eat that much food.
As
Yeah.
much as I want to.
That's funny.
That's a good problem to have. For
No,
sure.
it's wonderful. It's
So
wonderful.
you
I'm
started
so
working
blessed.
at Switch over in the Belterra Shopping
sir.
Center? Okay. Was that the first place it opened, or did that move from someplace else?
That
That was a new location.
Yeah.
For them.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
They have one up
North Lamar.
Yeah, North Lamar.
But you didn't start as a bartender.
No, I started as an expo, like so I was the one that would like
Run the
get all the
food.
plates and then hand it to the runners and make sure it all came out at the same time. Because with barbecue, it's crazy. You have to coordinate the kitchen as well as the meat cutter, so you can't cut the meat too early because it'll die. And so it was very, very crazy and lucrative. And I would kill it, and the owner would come in, and he'd be on the expo line, and he'd be like, "No, I can't do this. Here, you go on. You
Sydney,
go on.
take it over."
Take it over."
Yeah. When did you decide to get into bartending?
Well, I started serving there pretty quickly after, and I was still 17, so I couldn't even run my own drinks. Or I was 16, so you couldn't run your own drinks till you're 17. And so I was like, they were like, "You're so good, but we're gonna have people run your drinks because you got to be on the floor."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so I got into bartending when I worked at the League in 2021. And so I learned how to bartend there and fell in love with it.
So you went from Switch to the League.
A couple places in between.
Couple
And now you're
I was
at
at
Hayes.
Backspin for a little
Yeah.
while too.
Oh, okay.
And I've been around.
Yeah. And now you're at
Hey
Yeah, I'm at
City
Hayes
Store.
City
Hey City
Store.
Store.
Yeah.
So I was talking about this earlier. What put you on my radar was when you left an establishment here in Dripping Springs, and all of a sudden I kept seeing your name everywhere, and it was just blowing up, and people were
I had my own hashtag.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Seriously.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I did. And hashtag bring back Sydney.
Yes, and people were pitchforking and like, I'm gonna
There was
never
a whole
go.
boycott.
Yeah, total thing. And so I was like, okay, this seems like a very cool chick. I need to figure out like what is magical about her. And then once I really got to meet you personally, I was like, okay, I get it. I totally understand. So tell me about that time in your life when you left this one place and you were kind of like, is this really what I want to do? Or did you feel like the
I
community
did
support?
feel that. I did. I was wondering if I was, need to get a quote real job, as
Yeah.
they say. Everybody always says that, and so I tried up for a month at another place, not in a restaurant, and I was like, this is terrible. Like I miss serving people. I miss making people happy. I miss people like getting a memorable experience from me. Like I miss seeing all my favorite people. Like
Yeah.
And so when I got to Hayes City Store, I mean, my interview was literally a minute and a half long. And I didn't even know the managers. I really didn't know Travis and Tamara yet. I had seen them at private events, but I literally sat down and he said, it was the bar manager. He's like, hey, I hear you have quite a following in the hill country. I was like, really? How do you know that? And he's like, tell me how you got that. And I was like, well, I treat every single person like they're my family when I walk up to the table. And a lot of them have become my family, you know, and people remember that. They want to come back and see you. And everyone out here in the hill country just loves good service and good people. So
that's cool. When you said memorable experience, what do you think makes it a memorable experience for people?
I think, well, what I love about the restaurant is you never know what someone's gone through when they get to your table. They could have lost their dog. They could have gone to a wedding. Like there's no, you have no idea until you talk to them. And so if you walk up with a big smile on your face and welcome home and how y'all doing today and just act like they just walked through your front door. Like people remember that and they want to come back and see you because they feel like they're right at home. They're not just getting, hey, what do you want today? Like that's terrible. I want to hear about you. How's your day? What do you like to drink? Let me help you pick something. Like
especially nowadays, I feel like in the service industry, it's an anomaly now to get good service because I waited tables when I was, from 16 to maybe 21 or so. And I was kind of like that, you know, like every table was like a different personality. You're like, you know, am I too much for this table? Okay, I'll tone it down. But the table next to me, I can be, you know, whatever. But I feel like over the last couple of years, the service industry has just sucked. And you're like, it's not freaking rocket science, but
it's really not that hard.
Yet here, I'm going to automatically have a 25% tip when I turn it around at you. It's like, you got to earn it.
Do you think that's part of the reason though? Because everybody's automatic. Like you go order Chinese food and you go pick it up and they want a 25% tip to take it from one counter and turn 3 feet and put it on the other counter. They want 20. Do you think that's why?
I think that's part of it. And I also think that a lot of people that are getting into the service industry, a lot of younger people, they just don't care as much as you should. And they don't understand how much money you can make doing it if you do it well.
Yeah.
Right.
What you put in is what you get out. And that's what I love about serving is everything that I do, if I work my butt off all night on a shift, I'm going to see the result of that, you know, and people don't understand that.
Yeah. Did somebody teach you that or did you just naturally come to that?
I kind of had like a mentor when at my first job, but I really just grabbed it by the reins and was like, this is awesome. I'm making great money. I'm making people happy. Like I have a servant's heart and it just like clicked and it came pretty easy, honestly.
Building upon that. So I want to talk a little bit about your background and about your family. A lot of times, you know, your personality is just bigger than life. And a lot of times when people meet you and they start to really kind of get to know you and see you at events and they're like, wait, you're conservative and you're gay?
Yeah.
How is that possible?
It trips people up all the time and I love it.
But like, did you come from a conservative family?
Very much so.
Okay.
Very much so. Very Christian, very conservative. And it's just like, oh, that's it. Like, that's just how it was. And like a very conservative family. I love my mom. They are such amazing people. I hate living so far from them, but they love where they're at. I love where I'm at. And it's great, but it definitely trips people up because they see the haircut and they're like, what's going on here? How are you bartending for the governor right now?
Do they often assume that you are not conservative?
Oh yeah, very much so. Very much so. And I love telling people, I'm like, my bathroom towel says don't tread on me right now. I have 2 guns in my truck. I don't know what else to say, but
When you have that experience with somebody and maybe they want to talk politics, do you enjoy that? Like somebody with a different point of view, or do you kind of like to stay away from it?
It depends.
Yeah.
It depends on if you can actually hold a conversation and talk about it, or if you're just so, I call them asleep and set in your ways,
right,
that you're not open to hearing anything else. And I feel like if you really open your eyes to what's going on in the world today, it doesn't matter what side you want to lean on. You know what's right and what's wrong. We're given that from God, you know, and people just don't.
It's the making assumptions, and I think that's the thing. And it's also
which is exactly what they tell us not to do.
Exactly right.
I want to throw that
and
out
it's
there.
about. I have said this to Steve many times. It's about breaking bread with people that aren't necessarily like in totally alignment with you, but being able to have open to have a conversation. And which I think is such a lost art now. It's like,
I will learn.
It's not a debate; it's a conversation.
Yeah, agreed.
Exactly.
I will learn a lot more from somebody that has a different point of view than somebody that is perfectly aligned with me. Then you're just in this little box, sounding off of each other. If somebody sits down with me and has a different point of view, they were brought up a different way, and we can have a civil conversation. That's my favorite kind of conversation.
That's why Steve and I get
for
along
sure.
so well.
That's right. That's right. I used to ride with a guy, and he was very liberal. Obviously, I'm very conservative.
Really?
And yeah. I have 2 guns in my car.
You wouldn't know by looking at him.
But I would tell him over and over and over that I learn a lot from you, and I want to keep having these conversations.
Yeah.
But he got to a point where he couldn't take it anymore, and he severed the friendship. And I thought that was sad to me because I enjoyed spending time with him, and I did learn a lot. And there was a couple of times he pointed out things, and I went, I need to do more research on that.
I hadn't thought about that way.
Yeah, that's right.
It happens. It's getting more and more rare, I feel like.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
And especially people, like you said, they assume pretty frequently, and they're like, oh, yeah, she must be a liberal. I'm like, very far from that. And I love being able to talk about it, and I'm proud to bleed red, and to have hopefully see this country do a better next 4 years now.
What about within the realm of kind of the LGBT mafia
Bullshit.
sense? Yeah.
So,
What about
I don't
that?
know if I can say that.
Yeah, right. But what about that? I
I
mean, do you get kickbacks from that?
From people like that?
Not kickbacks. Pushbacks. Sorry.
Pushbacks.
Not
Yeah.
kickbacks. Sorry.
Something different.
Sorry. Not kickbacks.
Not kickbacks.
Pushbacks.
Pushbacks. Kind of like there's been people before, and they'll be like, what are your pronouns? I'm like, I hate this question.
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous. I think it's all made up, to be honest with you. And I don't care who gives me backlash or kickbacks or pushbacks or whatever for it. Like, I think it's like LGB with maybe the T even is questionable for me. Like, I think that's not, and if you talk to a lot of what I call like old school gays, this is not what any of them wanted or fought for. COVID just flipped everything on its head. And I hate when people associate me with, they're like, oh, well, there's this new term and there's this new letter that they added. And what do you think it means? I'm like, I don't know.
But your person, the who you are as a person, just who I am as a person, my sexual orientation doesn't define who I am, doesn't define my beliefs. And
no, not at all.
It always kind of seemed ridiculous to me.
It's so ridiculous.
That everybody is summing somebody up on what happens behind a closed door.
Not small, but one part of who they are is supposed to define your entire personality, and that's not the way it is. Not that way with
that's
anybody.
what's wrong with all the people in that alphabet mafia, I call it, is they make that their entire personality, and there's nothing else apart from that. And I'm like, that's lame. I have many aspects to my personality.
Yeah.
That's just one little one. Like, it's not a huge deal.
What do you think has been the most surprising thing to you about kind of growing up here in the Hill Country, like your formative years? Just kind of, I don't know. What has been the most surprising thing?
Most surprising. I think Dripping Springs has given me a lot of, restored a lot of faith in humanity for me, because I truly call it a magical place. Like, the people that are out here are so special. They're so caring. And when you're in downtown Austin or wherever, you just don't get that experience from people. You don't walk into a restaurant and have somebody welcome you with open arms. It's just another day at work for them.
Yeah, they got stink face.
Exactly.
Sometimes you walk in. Yeah. It's like,
Is that what you call that? You give me every morning? Stink face?
That's what your face looks like.
She's just reciprocating.
That's probably true. Yeah. Sydney, so you're into bartending now at the Hayes City store. And it sounds like you love that and your customers love that. What's your favorite part about doing that, about bartending?
Man, and I'm actually serving at Hayes City store.
Okay.
Which I thought about bartending, but I have so many people that have followed me from my last establishment to here. 150 people would probably be a low number for how many have truly come over and have changed their weekly routines to come and see me and drive even further too, which is really, really special. And so my favorite part, I think that I'm happy to go to work.
Wow, that's really cool. It's
a wonderful thing to be appreciated by your owners, by your management, by your, your customers, by your employees. That will change. That will make or break your life. if you're not happy going into work, like that's a terrible way to live.
Yeah. Trust
Like
me.
my grandpa
It
always
is. It's
says,
an
if you're
awful-
happy, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like what I've always strived for.
That's really good because a lot of people don't like that, right, Michelle? Don't like coming to work.
I know. But I come to work. Do I work?
Yeah, well, yeah, I know. Only when I say, "What are you working on right now?" What's your least favorite part about serving or bartending?
I think the people that are so wrapped up in their own life or their own whatever that they don't look at you as a person. They look at you as someone that's supposed to wait on them hand and foot, which I have no
Entitlement.
problem doing.
Yeah.
But if you shake an iced tea glass at me, I want to sock you in the face. I can't. And I still smile at you.
Means, right?
No, is that what that means? Like, hey, fill my glass. I'm waiting
And
too
then
long.
you walk up and you look at them and you're like, "Do you need something?" And they'll just like look at you and I'm like, "You have words you can speak. We can
your
work through this together.
Use your words,
Please and
Are
thank you."
sick?
Yeah.
That is amazing.
I would struggle with that if I was in your position. Those people that are just naturally rude, which I think.
And there's some people you can't make their day any better.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
You cannot make their day, but no matter if you literally kiss the ground that they walked in on, they don't care. And then you have to be okay with that because that person can't make or break your night. They can leave you a bad tip, but that means my next table is going to leave me double what
You're
they
exactly right. You're exactly right. You know, I think I've told this story before, but when I was waiting tables in Corpus, I waited on this really famous wrestler, Ric Flair.
Oh,
and
okay.
He was so incredibly rude when he first came in, so incredibly rude. And he kind of did the iced tea shake at me, and he wanted several drinks at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we were going to the TABC lawsuit, and we were like, nope, sorry, you can have one drink at a time.
Yeah.
And I went up to the bar. I noticed his drink was getting low, and I was like, I went up there kind of ahead of the curve. I'm going to order it. And I go up there and he comes up behind me and he goes, "I need my other beer." And at this point, I'm 18, 19 years old, right? And I'd had it with him.
Yeah.
Had it. And I said, "You're going to sit down, you're going to shut up, and I'm going to bring you your beer in a second."
Ric Flair.
Yeah. And
Some people like that though.
He left me the biggest tip today that I ever had, because I think it was probably he was just used to pushing people around. He was kind of still in character. He had just come off of like a wrestling match.
Right.
But it's like, and I was like, oh, I'm getting fired. You know, it was like one of those like automatic
I
things.
just messed up.
I'm getting fired. But he left me the biggest tip and was so nice to me after that. And I think people need to understand sometimes you're just a person.
I was
You're-
going to say
yeah.
I'm just trying to make my way through life.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
y'all pay my bills, you know?
He saw you as a person instead of just somebody that's there in the background doing what he needs you to do. He saw you as an actual human being.
Well, I was like 95 pounds. I'm shaking my little finger up at him. I think
It's
I
always
still
the
had
little
my
ones.
retainer in my mouth too, you know. It was like, and I kind of talked with a lisp when I had that retainer. You're gonna sit down. You're gonna sit down. Did you ever wait tables, Steve?
I never did.
You
No?
can tell.
Ooh, Sydney. Boom. My job out of high school, when I was going through college,
He was a ball washer.
Shut
Yeah.
up.
He was. He was
I
a
worked
ball
on-
washer.
I worked on a golf course.
He washed
So
balls.
you really, okay.
Yeah,
Glorious job.
Yeah, no, it was okay, but there were I think I would run into some of the golfers sometimes, and they were always a bunch of dicks. I swear they always were.
This is how I equate Steve's job there. He washed balls and he
I
sat.
did not wash balls.
He was a-
I've never washed a ball in my life.
He was a ball washer and he sat outside. He sat outside and smoked a lot of cigarettes because it was the only time he got a break.
This is true, Steve. So I'm like 19 years old, and you work an 8-hour day, and the guys that I worked with were all 40 and 50 and 60 years old, and every 20 minutes they would stop and smoke a cigarette for 5 minutes. And one day I just stopped working and hung out with them, and my boss comes over, "Mallet, what are you doing?" I go, "I'm taking a break." He goes, "Get back to work." I go, "Look at all these guys sitting there smoking. They're taking a cigarette break." And I'm like, well, I better start smoking.
Now I'm going to smoke. So some of the things that we were reading in your bio that you like to do for fun. You're a big NASCAR fan.
Huge.
Fishing.
Love
huge,
fishing. Yep.
Huge. And Legos. I want to deep dive into this Lego because my kids were crazy psycho. I still have a huge trunk of their Legos that I'm saving one day for their
You'd be
kids.
surprised how much they're probably worth, to be honest with you.
Oh, I bet.
There's
And-
sets I had as a kid. I was like, God, I wish I would have
But you keep them together, right? So do you have like
So
a
you have
display?
models?
I have like 6 bookshelves and like Target-sized bookshelves in my house of all Legos, and it's mostly Star Wars. It's a lot of cars, and it's,
Do you have
it's
that
so fun.
that orange Porsche GT3?
Yes,
You do have that.
I do. It's so cool.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. Tyler has one of those.
Oh, that's
And
really
apparently,
cool.
it's a limited edition. Now they're worth like $1,500 or something, huh?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
They're worth more in a box, of course, but even if you build them and they're in
Yeah.
good shape, you got all the pieces. It's
So,
good.
do you keep the box and the instructions?
And I get a little Ziploc bag and write the name of the set on there and keep all the extra pieces in there in a crate and kept it for safety.
Oh, you're my kind of OCD.
Very, I'm very OCD.
You know what I did when my kids were little? No lie, and they're still like this. And my kids, I mean, I am certifiably, but I color coded all of the Legos, and they're all like in little shoe boxes. And I
That's
have like, here's
perfect.
all the reds, here's all. Yeah, that's psycho, but it did it.
Yeah. Now I
It's
used
very
to.
aesthetically pleasing.
it is.
Yeah, Tyler, my middle son, he was really big into Legos, and we used to do those all the time, and I loved it. It's a lot of fun.
It's so much fun. And for me, when I get home, I've run around for the last 6 or 7 hours.
Yeah, you
just
got to turn off.
going crazy. And so my adrenaline's through the roof, and you can even have a drink or two, and that's not going to take the edge off. So when I get home and get in bed, I'm like, okay, I'm going to zone in, build some Legos, you put on Seinfeld or something easy, and just relax.
That's
my
cool.
favorite way to
Do you go
unwind.
to any type of conventions or anything, or there's such a thing?
I actually did go to a convention. I think it was
Do you want me to
earlier
edit
this year.
that part out?
No, I'm proud of that. And I know why I'm proud of that. You know why I'm proud of that?
Why?
Is my favorite old people. They're like 76 years old. They're like my grandparents. Like, I love them so much, Boyd and Patty. And she was like, I want to go to this Lego convention and you need to come with me. And I was like, really? It was like 8 a.m. in downtown Austin. And I woke up and I went, and don't know how I made it because I was like, I was out of it. I was like, this is too early, y'all. But we did it, and they were so happy. Like, she was happier than even I was. And she didn't even build Legos. She just wanted to go and see all the big
Okay, what
statues.
goes on at a Lego convention?
Lots of nerds. I was like, are you all homeschooled here? No, it was cool. We were the oldest kids in there, especially them. It just looked like they were taking their kid around, which is pretty much what was happening.
That's funny.
That is so funny. So
It was a lot of fun.
So you have met some pretty incredible people here. I know one of them are mutual friends of ours, Dodie and Dick Scott, and they've used you several times for private events that they have done. And what do you think is like one of the coolest things about kind of meeting these types of people that you probably never, if you weren't in the service industry, you never would have been, I don't know, like in the same realm?
Right. Well, I mean, I'd never be on this podcast if I wasn't in the service industry.
I don't know.
you know?
We'd find you
I
somehow.
think we'd find you. We'd
Yeah.
find you at a Lego convention
That's
or
right.
something.
Right.
Come here, you Sydney. We want to talk to you.
No, but I really think, I mean, you never know where your table can take you. And what I love about Dick Scott and Dodie is they are so unassuming. And so when you take care of them.
Isn't that the truth?
He's in a Tommy Bahama shirt and some slides and is just living his best life. And you don't know, how well off they are until you see the ring on her finger. And you're like, wow, these
And
people
then the
must be
governor,
kind of
and the
important.
governor's over for
And then
dinner.
the governor's
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
for dinner. And you're like, oh my gosh, these people are really important. And I love it because she texts me every day. And I'm like,
She's the sweetest
She's
person.
so sweet. She's like, you want to come to dinner with us? Like, we go out to dinner all the time. And, there's judges there and sheriffs
Yep.
and like everybody. And I've got to meet so many amazing people that are in positions I would never have just normally been able to meet because
Do
they're
you
just
get
coming in for dinner.
intimidated when you're in those groups?
I can't
like that?
see Sydney getting intimidated
I
with
don't know.
anything.
Do you?
And when I'm so if I were to attend an event, it would be a little bit different. I don't know that I would be intimidated necessarily, but when I'm behind the bar and I'm in my element, like this is my stage.
Yeah.
Like, you're my people. Like, I'm here to make you happy, crack jokes, and get you drunk. Like, for lack of better terms.
Yeah. That's great. So were you at the event where Governor Abbott was there?
Yes.
yes.
Did
And
you
I
get
got
to meet him?
I didn't get to officially shake his hand, but I saw him rolling around.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
And I heard him speak, and it was so cool to hear him speak,
Yeah.
like in person.
Did you?
know?
Were you there? Did you hear him when there was an older gentleman there and he almost fell? Did you hear that? He almost fell, and it would like kind of stopped Governor Abbott's speech, and because it was around the pool, and the gentleman said, "Oh, I'm sorry. Sometimes I have a hard time standing up." And Governor Abbott goes, "Yeah, me too."
That's
It was pretty
classic.
funny.
So you have to have a sense of humor.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. It was pretty funny.
So when
amazing.
you're bartending sometimes or serving, and somebody comes in and they just are in a funk, do you try and find a way to loosen them up, or do you just kind of give up on that one, or what? How do you? If
It depends
so
on the
Michelle
table.
comes in, and she's real reserved and
Yeah.
she's quiet and
Yeah, that's me.
somber.
Yeah.
No, but how would you approach that situation?
I feel like I'm very good at reading people. And so as soon as I walk up, the way that you respond to me saying, hey, y'all, how we doing today? With a big smile and, like I'm here to take care of you and get you everything you need. The way you respond to that tells me everything I need to know. If you're like, oh, man, we're great. How are you doing? Then like, cool, we're gonna be on the same page of this. But if you're just like, I'm fine, like I want a tea. It's like, cool, okay, I will leave you be.
You're meeting people where they're at, and that's a
Exactly.
pretty rare thing nowadays, where you're
Exactly.
going to their level, and it's like, okay, you know what? I'm picking up on your energy, and not
I feel
necessarily.
it as soon as I walk up. And I'm not going to pressure you to have some conversation with me.
Yeah.
Like, I have other people I can talk to. I'll go talk to
Yeah.
some dogs, too.
What
like,
if you think you can help them, though? What if you think you can? Is there a signal that you get where, hey, I'm going to push a little bit more because this, like, for example, if you're bartending and somebody sits down at the bar and you can just tell they're having a crappy day, they probably want to talk to somebody. Do you ever is there some technique you use to try and help out there?
I'd like to say that I have this wonderful technique, but a lot of it is that people just tell me things and I'm very like approachable, I guess. And so you'll have somebody sit down and they'll tell you their whole life story and you're like, I didn't necessarily ask for this, but I'm here for it and I want to help you. I want to listen to you. And like, I wanted to like, sometimes I feel like I tell people what they need to hear and it's not my words. I feel like it's God speaking through me sometimes, and people, it makes a big effect on people.
I have that uncanny ability for people to tell me highly inappropriate things where I didn't ask
the
for.
time.
And I'm like, oh, really? And I'm like, holy crap. What did they just tell me? Right?
It's true.
Steve's
It's
like,
true.
how?
Even people I don't know when
Yeah.
I'm at a bar somewhere random, like people just come up and they just want to just unload whatever's going on.
The best conversations are the bathroom conversations, right?
Those terrify
Oh
me.
man, those are the best conversations.
You both have that. I don't have that. Like, people don't open up to me like that. Is it the smile? Is it?
It's your energy. I truly
Maybe.
believe people feel, and sometimes they don't even recognize that they're feeling it. They just feel it and feel safe and just know that you'll listen.
I think the feeling
the
safe
aura.
is probably.
It's the aura
last
for
night
sure.
we had the cutest little waitress. We went to Whiskey Ridge for the first time for my birthday, and I had the cutest, sweetest waitress. Her name was Janice. And when she found out that it was my birthday, and she goes, "How old are you?" I mean, she's like probably about your age, and she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't ask that." I said, "No, I'm 54," and she goes, oh, "What?" She goes, "You know what it is? You don't look old because you smile really big." And I was like, that was the sweetest thing. I was like, somebody else probably would have taken that and like, that is a weird compliment.
Somebody paid her $20.
Todd was next to me for sure.
He's like, here.
No, I thought it was very sweet. But yeah, I mean, you kind of just tune into, you have an energy about you, Sydney, that is, especially for somebody that your age, is very rare.
I agree with that.
It's infectious.
Thank you.
In a good way, not in an itchy way.
Well, and I love, like, when I'm serving and I'm super busy and I've got, 5 huge tables and I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off, you will see me sprint from the table to the kitchen to wherever. But when I get to the table, it's calm, cool, and collected. Like, hey, how we doing, y'all? Like, what's up? What can I get for you? You having a good time? Happy Friday. Like, we made it, And
Don't you find
people love that.
do you thrive in the chaos? Because I feel like I do. Steve, like when it's chaotic around here, Steve's like, you love this stuff. I was like, because I guess
I do
maybe
too. I would rather have chaos than just sort of plodding
I will
along.
forget more when it's slow.
Yes.
I will totally. But when it's busy, I will have everything to a T, just everything that you need. And especially with big parties, like so many people hate big parties and I adore them.
Yeah, you got to categorize them. I mean, like I was always taught you never go into a section without something. You never leave a section without
It's
something. You
one big
always,
table.
Yep.
Yep.
And you got to like, okay, I'm going to categorize these people and you got to figure out how
you
to.
need this, you need this, you need this. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. Pew, pew.
I said if I had to, I could go back to waiting tables. I mean, my feet probably wouldn't be able to handle it, anymore, but
Come on, Michelle.
I could.
You could do that for hour. Hour and a half?
No, I could do it.
I think you could make it through a shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe one shift.
I'd
Travis, are you listening?
Yeah.
Michelle would like a job.
if this real estate stuff doesn't pick up, maybe you may see me at McDonald's over here.
Sydney, have you ever had to deal with somebody that's falling down drunk?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was one guy that at the last place I worked, he wasn't, I wouldn't even necessarily say he was drunk. I feel like he had taken some other things, and he was an older gentleman, and he fell asleep at the bar.
Oh.
He had 2 pina coladas, so it wasn't like he was going crazy.
2 pina
And they
coladas.
weren't not a colada.
And we weren't in the rain. And he fell asleep, and I'll never forget because I took a video, obviously. And I'm zooming in on him, and I see Dick and Dodie. They're like 5 seats behind him, and she's laughing her butt off, just zooming in, taking a video. Dick's on the phone. He's like, "What the heck is going on down here?" And I was like, "Just another night."
Well, there's a lot of liability now.
That's kind of what I was getting to.
When I mentioned the TABC scenario, the restaurant that I worked at in Corpus, Water Street Oyster Bar, was the reason why they had this law, because somebody had left the restaurant and had gone out and killed somebody. And they were like, was it over serving? So it was late 80s, early 90s when they really started doing a crackdown, and you started having to get TABC certified before you could really serve. And there was you go through, is it yearly? Every 2 years?
Every 2
training?
years.
Yeah, every 2 year training that you have to be able
Continuing education.
Yeah. And
Just to keep you refreshed
But there's
on
a
it.
lot of liability on
So much.
servers and bartenders, not just the restaurant. There's a lot of liability
So
on the server.
People don't understand. You personally will lose your license if something happens to someone that you have.
And be held criminal liable.
Exactly.
Criminally liable.
And that's a huge part too.
Yeah.
Like, not only do you lose your livelihood, you could be thrown in jail.
Yes.
Which is
So
terrifying.
how do you manage that? Because I'm sure I know there are people that come in and they sit at your bar and
Or the table,
or your table, and they've had one too many, and they ask you for another one. What do you do?
Hey, buddy, you hungry? Can I get you a water?
yeah.
Look, I need you to eat a taco or something before you want any more.
Well, they have the right to refuse service, but but there's an art to it, right?
There
to cut
is.
somebody off.
And there's also people that you don't ever have to cut off because they're good. I've watched Dick Scott take down 3 bottles of champagne, and he can talk to you better than anybody else in the restaurant. And I'm like, good for you, man. Like, professional over here. And there's a lot of professional drinkers, I would say, in Texas. And so, whereas on paper, you can't serve more than 2 Mexican martinis to somebody.
Yes.
There are plenty of people that can handle 4, and as long as they eat, they're totally fine. And then their wife drives them home. And that's the other thing, too.
Yeah, you got to make sure they have a designated driver.
Exactly.
If they're sitting at the bar by themselves,
Oh, yeah.
then you're probably paying a little more attention to
And
them.
we've had to call Ubers before, and make
Well,
sure
also you
people
have a
get home
manager
safe.
too that can
Yes.
step in,
and they will pay for it, and they will, as long as you can get the address from them, put them in the Uber, and they're out of your way.
That's
that part I would struggle with that part because
Thankfully, it doesn't happen that often, and when it does, it's not normally your locals.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
Well, yeah, when I think the way I was always taught, if they come to the table and you already notice that they're inebriated, you have a right to not serve them, right? And so if you're starting it off, but you as the server, that's why you have a manager. That's why you have a floor manager, you have a bar
Exactly.
manager, and you as the person liability, you step out of it.
Yeah, I just think that can be so messy, right? Because you got somebody, they're already a couple in the tank, and they're maybe a little bit belligerent, and they're like, "What do you mean you're not going to get me a drink?" And then the manager comes over, and there just has to be a certain way you handle those people
And
to
I'm
make
blessed
sure
right
they don't
now
make
to
a big scene.
No, for sure. And that's the thing too. But also everyone's pretty cool out here, and so they understand, things happen. You might not have eaten that day, and there's all kinds of factors that go into it. And so I'm blessed to have especially a general manager and all great managers that they just know how to schmooze the people.
There's a lot
probably
of-
happens a lot more in like 6th Street downtown. I'm sure they're
Oh,
cutting people
for sure.
off.
Well, as far as
for
the
sure.
DWI, which is a huge problem, right? The DWI, my understanding is when someone gets stopped for driving while intoxicated, they look at the point of origin. Where did you come from? And there's a whole analytics statistics of where, especially Austin. I haven't really seen anything out here in Hayes County, but in Austin, you'll have the top. I think actually one of them was the Mean-Eyed Cat Bar with downtown, but the highest level of I don't want to be held liable, but there were several downtown Austin bars. I can't think of the name of the one that I can see it. It was by the homeless shelter down there. And a lot of times those people were coming from that particular bar, and then they start cracking down on that. But with a good manager, a good establishment, they will establish that with their wait staff and say, hey, you know.
Yeah. Do you remember the one, it might have been before you started working with me. There was a golf tournament
I remember.
sponsored by a title company. And a real estate agent was drinking at the golf tournament, drove home, and killed somebody on 1826.
He's still in jail,
and
I
the
think.
title company was held liable for serving him too much alcohol. I think he's out now, but I think he did like 8 years for manslaughter.
Yeah,
It's crazy how the company becomes held liable for grown adults, actions.
Right. Yeah. But the reason I'm pointing that out is there's probably companies out there that have Christmas parties and all kinds of stuff, and they have alcohol and they don't even think anything about that. But that person goes out and kills somebody, you might be criminally liable.
I think the reason behind that is because this is just me spitballing something. I think it's because you're in an altered state, right? So if you have one drink, two drink, whatever, you're in an altered state, and so therefore your decision-making processes aren't. And so the person that's sober is serving you something. There was something about what are they called? Shooters. It's like the certain places won't serve you a shooter because it's like 2 alcoholic drinks at the same time.
Well, and there's also a rule you can't have more than, I believe it's 3 ounces in a single drink.
Yes, that's
Oh, okay.
So that's
and
like a
if
Mexican
they want,
martini.
you can have a beer and a shot, or a beer and a mixed drink, but you can't have like a whiskey Sprite and a vodka tonic at the same time or whatever.
That's why the Mexican martinis are like there's a 2 limit because there's a lot of alcohol in those. I can't write those. But I have I don't know if you have any other questions. I have a rapid fire.
I have a couple. What's your favorite drink at Hay City Store?
Oh man. Honestly, so we have a frozen Jack and Coke.
Yes.
And it is amazing.
It's
Is it like a
delicious.
slushie?
It is like the best slushy ever.
Yeah, it's
and
good.
you can taste the whiskey, and that's what I love about it. Because like most places you get a frozen Jack and Coke, it tastes like a gas station Slurpee, which nothing against them. I love me a 7-Eleven every once in a while, but I want to taste the whiskey.
Yeah.
I
can.
like the frozen Jack and Coke with a splash of cherry juice on top.
Oh, you're one of those.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good. It's good.
So one of the things I've noticed, the first time I've met you, you seem really to enjoy your life. And there's probably some people out there that maybe aren't enjoying their life as much as you are. Have you got any tips for them? How do you live such a great life?
God, honestly, He's what gets me through every day, and every good thing that comes my way is from Him, and every bad thing is a lesson. And I've had a lot of trials and tribulations the last year, especially. I've had a lot of things move around in my life, relationships, jobs, accidents, like all kinds of things. And I just keep my focus on God, and He continues to bless me, and I'm so thankful for it. That's
cool. That's
really all
cool.
I can tell people.
Yeah.
That's how I keep a smile on my
You're an
face every day.
extraordinary young woman. You absolutely are.
Thank you.
For being as young as you are, just so insightful. There's so many things I think people can learn from you. Just it is your energy.
You
is
have
just
the
infectious.
wisdom of somebody with a lot more life experience.
An old soul, for sure.
Definitely an old
so
soul. That's why I have a Pink Floyd tattoo.
okay, so
Definitely an
here's
old
some
soul.
of I have some rapid fire questions
All
for
right,
you.
let's
Okay,
do it.
What's the most popular Hayes County drink out there? What's the staple that people order?
I would say everyone goes for a Mexican martini.
Oh, really?
That is, if you can handle it.
Tequila and me.
Is that because people come to Texas, they got to have barbecue? If you come to Texas, you got to have a Mexican martini kind of thing?
I think that's part of it. And it's also it's a very well-rounded drink. And if a bar does it well, they're going to sell a lot of them because they're strong, they're big. And also, I don't have to worry about you for at least 45 minutes with a Mexican martini.
Yeah.
You're good.
Because you got a
sip
shaker.
on it. Just
You got a shaker. Yep.
Oh, okay.
I always
You
say
gotcha.
it's a gift that keeps on giving. Because you'll be like, there's no more. And then you pour, and there's all this
There's
other
always
drink.
some more.
I poured one time and the whole top came off. I was like, oh, I'm so sad. Okay.
Yeah, I would
So
probably pour yours if I
Yeah.
walked up to the table. Like, she doesn't know how to do this.
Yeah,
She's an idiot.
she just licked it off the table. She
She's
was
an
fine.
idiot.
She just got a straw.
Who is the most famous person that you've served?
Oh, man.
You had anybody really famous come into?
I've taken care of Matthew McConaughey's brother
Oh, Rooster.
a lot. Rooster. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was blanking on his name. He's really cool.
Because he lives out here. He has
does.
property out here. Mhm.
Gary Clark Jr. frequents Hayes City
Oh,
Store.
nice.
He's so sweet,
Yeah.
man. Very good tipper.
I had
Very
a
nice.
good friend of mine. She was his music teacher when he was in
Really?
or middle school or whatever. Yeah, that's really cool.
And then there was a famous wrestler that used to come into a barbecue place I used to work at. The Undertaker?
Oh
maybe?
yeah. Because
Undertaker.
his kids, I think, were going to school somewhere around here. Okay, well,
There's a former Raiders player that I would see at the gym, Steve. I don't know how to say his last name, and I don't want to butcher it. But
Well, then also now you can add Michelle. Onto
Yes,
your,
so now I can
there
add
you go.
Michelle.
When people ask you that, say Michelle. Shut up. Okay, so have you ever caught somebody at your bar, sitting at your bar, where you're like, that ain't your wife?
Oh,
many times. Many times. But that's part of the bartender
That's right.
confidentiality. And especially, and then when they do bring their wife in, you don't say, hey, just saw you a couple days ago. They're like, hey, what's up? I've never seen you before. How
Where's
you doing?
that other chick you were with?
Oh, okay. So, who is your most regular customer that has followed you from place to place to place?
Like from the beginning?
Yeah.
I would say it's Boyd and Patty. Those are they live in Belterra. They're like 76. They're on a cruise right now. He didn't want to sneak me in his suitcase. He kind of wanted to. We couldn't. But no, they've known me since I was 16, and they've followed me. And I spend like Halloween at their house. We have brunch every Sunday. And
Wow.
it's the cutest thing. And like,
That's cool.
my
That's
grandparents, like one of them's passed away, one of them lives far, the other one, like or two of them passed away. Like that just was never close with them. And so to have them in my life, and they never had any kids. And so they have no family out here either. And
Aw.
so we're each other's family, and
That's
it's really
sweet.
cool.
That is sweet.
Well, one of the last questions I have is that because I don't think you realize how inspirational you are to other people, and so who do you feel in your life has been the most instrumental, has made the most impact on you from when you were a kid to date?
I would really say my parents. They just have always believed in me and told me I could do anything and everything that I've ever wanted to do. And that really, it goes a long way.
That is,
and my dad's always worked his butt off his whole life so that way my mom could stay home with us. And like, that was a huge inspiration as well, because long hours, gone on the weekend sometimes to be, had to be up in Dallas for a weekend or whatever. And like, he just did whatever it took to make sure we were all taken care of so that way my mom could stay at home, because that's not unheard of, but it's really hard to do nowadays, especially like every parent, pretty much most parents that I encountered, they both work and their kids go to school, and like, not saying there's anything wrong with school, but just like, you don't have the choice to be at home, either parent. And so it was wonderful to
be able to have that
blessed
experience.
like that.
What does your future hold for you?
It's limitless.
You said in your bio that you dreamed of being very successful. And so my question following up on that.
What do you define?
How do you define success in your life?
Success is, one, being happy with what you do to where you don't feel like you're working. That I feel like is the biggest priority. But also just being financially set enough to not have to worry about swiping your card at the grocery store or anything like that, and being able to get a house and do all the adult things, and also being recognized. And I don't necessarily want to be a household name, but I want people to know who I am. I feel like I can make a big impact on people, and I'm excited to see where this leads me to. And I feel like serving has been a really great stepping stone for that.
That's cool. Speaking of impact, tell me about the spring break Oklahoma drill in Port A.
That was a hell of a segue there, man. So I went to Port A for spring break for the first time this year, and I didn't even really know what an Oklahoma drill was. For those of you that don't know, one person has a football and the other one doesn't. You both lay on your back like 20 feet apart, and they blow a whistle and you jump up and run at each other. And so it was really cool because I went with some people that are in their 40s because they're my friends, and they brought their kids who are in their like teenagers, high school. And so obviously my friends did not want to go into the big pit at mile marker 32 or whatever it is. And so the kids were like, come on, let's go. It's like, okay, cool. Like, I get to hang out with the parents and the kids. This is the best of both worlds. And so go in there and I start seeing all these guys just knocking the crap out of each other. And I was like, man, this looks fun. Like, is anybody, they're like, you got to do it. And I was like, I don't know. And I had quite a bit of Coors Light that day. I was like, let's do it. And so I get up there and they're like, okay, any girl want to go? Like, what's your weight class? I'm like, you don't need to know, but big, I'm a big girl. And no girl wanted to do it. And so this guy comes up, he's like, yeah, I got her. And they're like, you won? I was like, I will take him. I got this. And I can show you the video.
I did. I showed
We saw
it
it before you came in. I was
video.
like, holy crap, don't piss her off.
He tried to jump over me, and that was his mistake because I just
clocked
leveled him.
Yeah.
You threw him down like dirty laundry, man. It was like, boom, just down on the ground.
And everybody lost it. Everybody was screaming so loud. It was crazy.
That's amazing. You have, speaking of amazing, you have an amazing future. Whatever, I think
Thank
you're
you.
right. Whatever the stepping stone is right now, I think some point it's going to be the Sydney Smith show. And so
agreed.
I think
Yeah, you want to start a podcast?
yeah, you want to start a podcast here? You're an amazing person, and I'm just blessed that I've gotten a chance to know you over this last year. And
Thank you, me too.
I'm
Excited to see you at more events.
Well, wonderful. Yeah.
Man, I've really enjoyed this time too. I might actually even start drinking just so I can hang out with
you
you.
don't have to start drinking. You don't have to start drinking. Don't worry.
Get him a little Shirley Temple.
Yeah, right.
Sydney, it's been a lot of fun, and I know you're going to do big, wonderful things in your life, and I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. And I'm so honored to have been here and had this opportunity. Y'all are so cool to talk to. And
Oh,
I can't wait
adore you. We adore you. Many blessings to you, girlfriend.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Yeah,
I
thank you,
appreciate it,
Sydney.
y'all.
Nomic Power Solutions, keeping you powered up.
Get to know your local full-service Generac dealer.
Cody and Dylan with Nomic Power Solutions are a veteran-owned, Texas-based Generac dealer and installer.
Offering low monthly payment options, it's never been easier to gain independence from the grid.
Call or text 512-387-4232 or visit nomicpower.com. Follow on Instagram at Nomic Power for updates.
Turnkey service including design, plumbing, electrical, and permits.
They even offer set it and forget it maintenance plans. Nomic Power Solutions.
Protect your home. Protect your family. Stay ready.
Ready to turn your land dreams into reality? Look no further than Capital Farm Credit.
Need a loan for your perfect piece of land? Capital Farm Credit is there for you.
Their dedicated team will tailor a loan to fit your unique needs because your dreams are their priority.
Capital Farm Credit. Your land, your legacy. Visit capitalfarmcredit.com or Mark Rutledge at 512-892-4425.
Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better.
Capital Farm Credit, an equal credit housing lender.
This show has been brought to you in part by the real estate pros at the Mallet Integrity Team. When you're looking to buy or sell, you need them on your side. Why settle for less when you can have real estate done right? Give them a call at 512-829-2062 or get more info at malletintegrityteam.com.
You know you like us, so go now to Apple Podcast or Spotify and leave us a review. Why don't ya? We love your feedback and comments. Email us at malletandmichelle@gmail.com.
Thanks for putting up with us.